So I just want to talk about functions really quick. There isn't really too much to mention. You're going to see the term fx thrown around a lot. Fx is just a function of x. So for example, fx could equal 2x squared plus 6x plus 8. This is a function, and it's a function of x because x is the variables in it. The reason we use fx is it's basically just shorthand. Rather than writing out in a question 2x squared plus 6x plus 8 every time, you can just write out fx. It's so much shorter, and it's really used in questions a lot. The letter here defines the variables that is in the function. So if you were going to say fy, that would be something like, I don't know, 2y plus 1. That is fy because the y is the variable. You can also get functions that have multiple variables. For example, fxy could be 6xy minus y, or something like that. You can define multiple functions in one question. So for example, they might say that f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 6x plus 8. We use the same function. And g of x is equal to 6x minus 5. So therefore they can refer to two different functions as shorthand, and the letters represent the different functions. It's also quite useful if you want to quickly show what you're substituting into a function. So for example, let's use this function. If you wanted to sub in 8 as x, then you could do f of 8 equals 2 8 squared plus 6 8 plus 8, which is equal, if you use a calculator, to 184. That's quite good shorthand as well if you want to quickly sub in a value for x, using, because everyone knows what fx would be in the question because it's already been defined in the question. On another note, the domain of a function is all possible inputs for the function. So let's take the function f of x is equal to 2x squared. The domain of that is all numbers, because you can put all numbers, you can put all values of x into that function and it will give you out an output. The range of a function is all possible outputs. So again, for f of x is equal to 2x squared, the range is numbers that are bigger or equal to 0, because it cannot be negative numbers, because you cannot get a negative number when you square something. Although you'll find for most of the functions that you encounter, the range will also be all numbers. Just a couple of other notes. Sometimes they can throw a question at you where it says something like f of x is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 7, and g of x is equal to 3x plus 1, or something like that. And they will say find f of x is equal to g of x. All this question is saying is they just want you to equal both of them together and then find what values of x for which is this true. So then you can just put everything onto one side, do x squared plus 5x plus 6 to make a quadratic, and then you could factorize that easily to do x plus 3, x plus 2 equals 0, so then x equals minus 3 minus 2, and then that's the answer to that question. They could also throw a question at you where they could say something like f of x is equal to x to the power of 4 minus 7x squared plus 10. Find f of x equal to 0. So what that is saying, obviously, is that they want you to find when x to the power of 4 minus 7x squared plus 10 is equal to 0. Now at first this looks quite scary because this isn't really a quadratic, this is a kind of a quartic in a way. However, you can make an easy substitution. You could say that I don't know, that u is equal to x squared. Well, then you could make this u squared minus 7u plus 10 is equal to 0. And then this becomes a lot more easier, because then you can just factorise this to go u minus 5, u minus 2 is equal to 0. So then you could say that u is equal to 5 and 2. So that means that x squared is equal to 5 and 2. So an x squared is equal to 5. So that means that x is equal to the square root of plus and minus the root of 5. And x squared is equal to 2. So that means x is equal to the plus or minus square root of 2. So those would be the solutions for that question.